Okay, fine. So I will start with the tutorial for the Roto nodes and Rotopaint nodes. So these are very useful nodes we have inside Nuke for doing rotoscopy. So in Rotopaint and Roto nodes and Rotopaint node, there is as such no difference except these four options. So if you go to Roto node, you cannot see these four options. If you go to Rotopaint, you can see these four options. So and we have some more tabs, almost similar tabs on both the cases. And if I go to Roto, you can see one second, make it 2 so you will understand the difference of the properties. So this is my Roto properties and this is my Roto paint properties. So you can see Roto paint, I have one Roto paint transform, motion blur, shape, stroke, clone, lifetime, tracking, and node. And here we don't have these stroke sections. Now why we don't have these stroke section is because in Roto paint node we have these painting options which is not there in Roto node. But otherwise, if you want to create a basic Roto shape and everything, it's very similar for each other. So I will just come one by one for Roto node. This is my selection tool. This is my point controllers, like if you want to add points, remove points, if you want to make some points smoother or hard corners, so you can create with these options. And here comes the creating of roto shape. Now when we click on it, it does not require to add it to the footage at the very first time or the very beginning of the rotoscope. It doesn't require to add it to the footage. You can directly apply it or you can directly draw any shape on the footage. So it's up to you, it's completely up to you. So as soon as you add a shape here, you can see there is some bezier has been added. This is the opacity of it. I will come to you, and if you want to add some feather value and all, you can easily have it there. So I will come back to this. So now I will just show you that how to add this roto node on the footage. So there are two way you can add. First one, you can drag and add it in between, so you can easily have it, because in the roto node you can normally you will have it in alpha and you will have it none, so you won't see anything. So if you change the output to none and pre-multiply the output to RGB alpha, you can see the shape. So if I press A, I can see this is my alpha value. Now if I want to add some feather value and all, I can add feather value. This is a feather value I am adding through my properties. There is another way you can add feather value. The first thing is that select one point, and you can see there are small handles. So if you move, you cannot select the handles, but if you press Control and add, you can have a feather value. So there are two way you can add feather value. This is the opacity of my roto or the shape. This is the feather fall off. So suppose I am having this one and I am having this one, so the smoothness or the blurriness around the edges. So this is what a feather value is. So this is one way you can attach the roto shape on a footage, or else another way you actually can attach. So how to do it? Select Control Shift X. Control Shift X if you want to disconnect or detach a node from a pipeline, and take a merge node. Press M, you will get a merge node. Add the merge node here. Background will be your footage and foreground will be your roto. Double click on the merge and select this is your mask. So you cannot see anything now. Why? Because you have to change it to alpha, and you can keep it RGB or none, it's up to you. You can go to RGB. You can see there are significant difference with this. So right now I'm keeping it none, and if I come back to this, I can see now if I change it to RGBA, you can see some areas are getting crushed. So this is the thing. Now why is this happening? Because if you change it to none, you can see the values here, these values here, the color values here, the gradient values, I can see it's changing. So actually it is multiplying with the, when I'm pre-multiplying it with RGB alpha, it's multiplying my alpha value, and it's multiplying my alpha value, and if I change it to none, I will have this one. So it's something like pre-mult unpremult scene. So anyway, so there's two way you can add here. Now coming back to some more shapes, like if you want to remove these feathers, so I'll just changing it to 0. Feather fall off, I'm changing it to 1. That is my default value. And if I want to add any feather to it, I can press Control and add, or I can select all of them, press E. So every time you press E, the more feather values are getting attached, but these values will not affect the values here. So there's two way you can add feathers. And if you don't want to add feathers, press Shift E, the feathers will be gone. So you can select one point, press E and press Shift E, it will come to reset. Right click, you can have, if you want to smooth your like corners, like if you zoom in and I suppose you can make a smooth something like this, or right click, you can go to smooth, you'll have a smoother corner, and shortcut is Z. Every time you press Z, more smooth it will be. Every time you press shift Z, it will come back to the reset option, and now it's there is only the corner. So I'm pressing Z, I want to have some smoothness on the edge, and you can have some increase feather that I've said, and shift T reset feather. And if you want to cusp or this smooth, that is your, I told you that is the option, shift Z. So this is what you can create roto shape. Now if you want to add any extra points in between, you can click on it. See, I'm still in alpha, so you can press again A to go back to the background. So I'm keeping alpha for the time being. So if you select, you can have a point here, or you can remove that point as well. You can have a cusp point. So suppose if I select, this point becomes smooth. Like if you see, if you select on this point will, one second, where is the point? Yeah, this is the point. So select this point, cusp points, select. Why it's not happening? Smooth points, you can make it smooth. You can have a open or close curve if you want to open it, so you can have a open curve, and you can close it here as well. You have a remove feather value, like if you don't want any feather and all, you can remove the feather as well. So this is the thing, and this is my selection tool. If you select, 4 options you will get. One is a select all. Now what is select all? So I'm just adding feather value to let you know. So see, when I'm in select all option, I can select both the things separately, right? When I'm selecting my main inside point, not the feather point, when I'm selecting inside point, when I'm selecting inside point, I can select both the points. When I'm selecting feather point, I can only select feather point. So that is because I'm in all option now. Go to select points, and now it's only selecting my point. If I go and select feather point, you will only select feather point. So that's the thing. Coming back to this, I told you remove feather. Now go to remove feather, click, the feather will get removed. So this is the thing. So this is how you can create shape. Other than shape, you have some shapes similar as Photoshop. Ellipse, rectangle, cusp rectangle. Cusp rectangle is without any means feather, any smoothness. You have an option called open spline. I will tell you what is open spline. Suppose you are doing any hair roto or something, that time we use open spline. I will tell you what is open spline. So just come here, remove DTV in mask, yeah, change it to over. Okay, fine. This thing you will get, this is a bounding box. Why is bounding box is happening? Because of my project settings. Press S, go back to your project settings and change your project settings to 1920 1080. That is my footage setting, so the bounding box will not be there. So come back to this. Coming here, and if you see, there are some hairs. So if I want to add some hair roto, so I can go and select open spline and just select. So you can see, I can select the open spline and I can remove it, select it, remove it as well, and press A. Okay, fine. Why is not happening? Because I have to change it to mask. Now you can see, you can have that open spline. So this is the thing. This is the feather value, baby. Yeah, this is the feather value I have. To remove the feather value, sorry, this is the feather value, this is the width of the spline. So you can see, I can have a spline width as well. And if you want to commit a smooth points, select, you can have a smoothness in your point as well. See, you can have a smooth point. Always when you are doing feather hair roto, it will be very corner, so it will look like a hair. So if you go, now you can see the hair strand. So this is called open spline. So for hair roto and all, this is very useful, this open spline method. So coming to open spline, remove. So then coming to the roto node, so select Control Shift X, I don't need it now. I will come to roto node, add it here and change it to over for the time being, alpha. Now in the Rotopaint node, I have 4 more options. One is this one, that is the brush tool. If you want to add any stroke, you can have it here, Rotopaint node, and you can go to stroke. If you want to increase the brush size, if you want to increase the brush spacing also, you can space it. See, if you want to increase the brush hardness, you can increase the brush hardness as well. Now one important thing I have that we normally use to remove tracking markers, to remove create clean plate as well, we can use this clone tool. Now if I select clone tool and I will get this option, press Ctrl, so this is my option. If I press shift and drag, I can increase the size of it. If I press Ctrl shift, and now if I paint, anything will happen. Okay, fine. One second, I did a mistake here. Yeah, so if I go here and if I paint this area, you can see I can easily paint. So this is the thing I can create with paint tool, and I can suppose I want to remove these posters if I want. So how to do it? Press Ctrl, click, and just paint. See, it's taking the reference from this particular area and it's painting. Now you will see I have a hard edge. I want to remove the hard edge. So here in the brush controller, we have over, we have all the blending modes we have. Opacity, I always keep the opacity a very down, like 0.1, 0.15, 0.12, 0.22, so it will give me a control on the stroke. For hardness, I will be keeping like 0.5. And now if I paint it, now you will see that hard edges are not there. So those hard edges are not there, so you can easily remove, like press Control, Control Shift. You can change your position from where you will take the sample, and you can paint. Press Control Shift. I want to take sample from here and paint. See, got it? So this is how you can use the paint tool. Every time when you create a clone tool or the clone shapes or the stroke, you will see I have created 25 number of cloning shapes, so it's been showing me 25 number of shapes. So this thing you have to create on each frame, or else you can continue this. How to continue? If you see the lifetime, or you can see it from here as well, you can see the life as well. If you go to lifetime, I have the option called single frame. Click, I can click on all frames. I can click on start to frame, frame to end, frame range. I can give a separate frame range as well, because sometimes it happens when our video moves or camera moves or the object moves, so some background or anything will get hidden by foreground object. So I don't want to remove the foreground object. So in that case, you can easily use this lifeline. Go to this blur tool. I have this blur tool here, and if you want to do any blur and all, you can create blur. I have the same thing like Photoshop smear sharpen tool. I have smear tool as well. Got it? And here is a dodge tool. If you want to dodge something, I will have a dodge tool, and if you want to burn something, I have a burn tool. And you can control the opacity of burn tool to like 0.1, and now if you start burning, you will see it's very dark in color. So this is the thing you can create with your Rotopaint. So these are the options, and Rotopaint is very advanced one, and it's a very new. Roto node was there in Nuke, but they have introduced Rotopaint very later on after working on Nuke, because Nuke started a long time back, maybe 90s. Nuke started 2000 2002 maybe they have used Nuke for the first time, or in the production. I forgot the date. So anyway, so this is the thing about Roto and Rotopaint node. Now I'll show you that how to create your first Roto and how to do Roto inside Nuke. So I'll be adding to the merge node again, and you can add Roto node or you don't need to add, it's up to you. So I'll start with this character's face, and press spacebar so it will be full screen. Press H, it will be fit to screen, and if you zoom in, you can zoom in. So coming to my Bezier tool, and I'll be just creating one shape around this character's head, because this character doesn't have any hair. So now I'm not adding the ear with the face or the head. So something like this. And you can do, and right click, you can go to smooth, you can have a smooth curve, and you can create a smooth curve here as well. Zoom in, just check. Always while we'll be doing rotoscopy, we'll be doing through the hard edges, and we'll try to keep as much zoom as possible, not too much, because if you zoom it too much, there will be some issues with these edge pixels. So I can be keeping something like this. Here is an issue, keeping something like this. Here, just press Control, and you can break the handles. If you don't want to break the handles, you can simply press like this, just move it inside. Yeah, it's going okay, okay. Leave it this part. This part is very important. And see, I almost did everything, just like this, like this, like this. This will be a little bit higher. And see, I have created my first roto of the face. You can make it a little bit rounder if you want. So I have created the first roto of the face. Now if I go to my press H again, so it will be full screen, and add this to roto, and change it to mask, so I can have this roto. Now the thing is that when you are creating these kind of roto, this character will move. Like if you play it, you will see the character is moving, or the camera is moving mainly. So that is the main important thing we need to keep in mind. So if our camera is moving, how to animate the shapes? Like in After Effects and all, we need to create keyframes, but here we normally create Nuke normally create automatic keyframes. How to understand or how to see? Go to dope sheet, and if you zoom in your playhead, you can see, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, you can see there is some keyframe. So this is the keyframe I have on my curves, Bezier curve. So this is the keyframe. So if I go to the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and if I select all of them, and I can move it, and you will see there is another keyframe has been created. Got it? And automatically I don't need to switch on any stop clock like After Effects and all, and it's automatically taking the shapes and moving the shapes as per the position. So it is actually doing the positional animations, and it's creating the similar shape or following the camera. Now there is some issues that you need to, of course, you need to correct in these areas. So I'll be going there in the frame that I, so anytime you will create a keyframe, you can see this keyframe here, and you can see the spline key 2 of 2. If I go, so see how it's moving from 1 to 2, you can see the variation in the spline key. What I have to do, again go to the full screen, press H, zoom in. So I'll be selecting only this many parts, and I'll be just dragging it inside. So you can see I can easily animate the shapes without any hard work. Of course, see, rotoscopy is a hard work job, means it's very tedious job. Personally I don't like rotoscopy, but sometimes you have to deal with it sometime, because you are an if you are working as a VFX artist, rotoscopy is the first thing you need to know. Yes, there are many artists who say no, don't need to go for rotoscopy. There are some artists, they have like you can directly apply for green screen and all, but no, it's completely wrong. It's actually completely wrong, trust me. When you are actually doing any kind of keying or green screen removal process, there also you have to follow some rotoscopy shapes to keep some of the background, keep some of the elements in your shot. So that time also rotoscopy is very mandatory or needed. I'll just make it like this. I'll just make it a little bit curve. Yeah, zoom in. So for this area I have to check how much hair. Yeah, this much is the hair for this area. This is, see, this is the head I have here. Okay, no, this is not a head. So now I have this something like this, this will be a little bit down. Zoom in, press A, so you can see how this pre-multiplication is happening. Got it? So again, come back to the next. So I did it in 10 frames at a time. Normally what we do 5 frames. We give gap of 5 frames. So 1 2 3 4 5. So in this 5 frame, if there is any change, see here I need to do some changes and add it inside. And I think I need to add some point here, so I can go here, select it and press alt, no, simply click, you can add a new point. Sorry, I was mixing it with silhouette. So yeah, and again go back to this, so just check. Got it? So it's another keyframe has been created. So this is how you can complete the full rotoscopy. So I'll not be showing the full rotoscopy today, so I'll be just going back to the node graph. Now what I will be creating is, I'll come back to my first frame, change it to over, and okay, fine, disconnect it. And I have one bezier. You can rename the bezier. Suppose I am giving it a face. So inside this particular roto node, you can actually add another roto. Suppose I want to add my ear or add this ear part, so I can easily create another roto, and you can see another roto has been created. So every roto shape, whatever you will be creating inside a roto node, it will be inside a master root node or root folder. You can call it a folder as well. So you can come here, come here, see. So I can add it, and I'll be naming it as a, sorry, ear. Got it? So this is how, and if I add it to this and change it to mask, you can see I can add the ear. I'm in a first frame, I can add the ear. Now the thing is that if you go to this, there are some options, like if you want to hide your roto, click on it, your roto will get hide, roto shape. If you want to lock your roto, click on it, it will get locked and it will show you as a white color. Here you can, if you click on it, you can change the roto line color. This is a shape color and this is the line color. If you want to change the line color, you can change it. Why it is not happening? Because of this. Yeah, see, you can change the line color. So if you want to have a separate line color, see, I have added a cyan color to my roto line. You can easily add it, and this is the shape color, so this is not required for the time being. And if you lock it, it will come back to the white color. If you want to invert your roto, so you can click and invert it. So just click on it and invert, so you'll see it's been inverted. Add this is with motion blur. You can click, so if the character is moving or the camera is moving because of rolling shutter or global shutter, whatever it is, there will be some motion blur. You can create motion blur with this. And life, of course, I kept the life for full frame or all the frames. You can click on it, you can start to frame, single frame, you can change it if you want. And source color, yeah, color is my background. So this is how you can start with the basic roto. And suppose in this roto I want to merge this, I'll just come here and I want to increase the size of the ear. So how to do this is just came in my mind. So press M and take it as a, 1 second, yes, this is the roto node and this is my background, this is my foreground, and come 1 second, I'll just show you 1 minute. Yeah, so suppose I'll be adding a transform node here, and with the transform I want to increase the scaling. See, I can increase the scale of the face, and as soon as I increase the scale of the face, so if you can see the face is looking very big. So got it? So the face is looking very big, and the roto shape, what you can do, I'll just increase the feather value. Now as you know how to increase the feather value. You can select all of them, press E, you will have a feather value. But I don't need feather on all the areas, so what I'll be doing, I'll be selecting on the top things, like press shift and add on some more points and press E, so you can have a feather value for the hair structure. And as soon as I increase the size, you can see I can have a separate shape on my thing. So this is the thing you can on my roto shape. So this is the thing you can do. So this is working as my foreground, and this thing is already I have as a background, and I can create. And if you want to add any color to it, so press G, that is the grade node I have. And if you want to increase the gamma value, you can make the gamma value darker, you can make it darker. So this thing, if you want to increase the gain, means highlights, you can increase. If you want to increase the lift of the total black value, you can increase. So right now it's not required. So this is the thing you with the basic rotoscopy. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching these tutorials. I don't know means how many of you will like it or not. I made it very small one, and let's see. I will come with another tutorials in coming days. Maybe green screen, I have some green screen work left to show you as a tutorial. So yep, that's all. Any questions you can give me, you can ask me on the comment section. So sure, if you want any kind of tutorials extra, sure, I will show it to you. And thank you. Have a nice day ahead. Stay safe in home. Don't go out. Bye.